There has never been a better time to become a LinkedIn creator, even if you're starting completely from scratch. Remember what TikTok was like back in 2020, when completely unheard of creators became sensations overnight just because they were the first in the door? That's kind of where we are with LinkedIn right now. It's not exactly the same, of course, but I would argue that in many ways it's even better. So if you have always dreamed of being a creator or an influencer, or you're looking to build your LinkedIn presence in the hope of fast-tracking your career, my friend, you are in the right place. So grab a notebook and a pen or open your LinkedIn profile. We are going to get you started right now. My name is Kirsty Lang. I'm a LinkedIn creator with over 12,000 followers, most of which I gained in the last 12 months. And it's not a secret. I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it. If you're a pretty confident LinkedIn user, you might want to skip straight to step 4, where we get into the very practical stuff. But I highly encourage you to watch this next bit, even if you're not a complete beginner. It has really handy context, and it may also help if you have imposter syndrome. But if you're quite new to the idea of LinkedIn creators, I bet you are wondering, wait, LinkedIn has influencers now? You bet it does, and there is room for more. I'm not going to give you the whole LinkedIn is no longer just a job search platform spiel. I feel like if you're here, you probably already know that. LinkedIn first rolled out creator tools back in 2021, but they've now made all of this available to everyone. So there is no special creator mode that you have to turn on anymore. Though there is still one setting that I do recommend you turn on if you want to start getting followers, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Who can become a LinkedIn creator? Watch this if something is holding you back. So if you have imposter syndrome about becoming a LinkedIn creator, hi, also me, once upon a time, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, I had maybe 1,000 followers and I felt like a fraud. Who was I to be giving advice? I'm not a CEO, I'm not a business leader, but I wasn't positioning myself as the world's foremost expert. I was just sharing what I was learning as I learned it. And people really responded to that authenticity, because the reality is that you don't need to be a CEO or a fancy business person or have loads of professional experience. A LinkedIn creator is simply someone who regularly shares valuable content and builds genuine connections with their audience. That's it. So you might be a solopreneur sharing lessons from building your business, or maybe a marketing professional breaking down campaign strategies. Maybe you're a sales leader, a consultant, a data scientist, or an artist, or even a student or an intern sharing cool projects. The point is, if you're sharing consistently, you are a creator. Now, I know this next bit is going to be a huge blocker for most people, so I really do want to stress that you don't need to have loads of groundbreaking things to say if you want to grow a following on LinkedIn. Most of my favorite creators on the platform are actually my peers, and some people have less experience than I do. That doesn't matter. They can still teach me something. The most authentic creators often position themselves as peers, learning along with you. Or they could be entertaining me. The vast majority of LinkedIn users are professionals looking for professional content, but I'm seeing more and more entertainment and lifestyle content on the platform. I personally love creating lifestyle content on there. So if you don't fancy creating traditional work content, there is space for you as well. So the question isn't whether you can become a LinkedIn creator, it's whether you are willing to show up consistently, which I think you are. Why LinkedIn? Why not other platforms? I'm glad you asked. Yes, other platforms like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube are pretty much completely geared towards creators. But what most people don't realize about LinkedIn right now is the platform is still wide open for new creators. LinkedIn has over 1 billion users, but only a small portion of those are actively creating, which is wild. Not only does that mean there is less competition, but also a bigger passive audience, i.e. loads of feeds that LinkedIn needs to fill. And unlike other platforms where it can be tough to break through as a new creator, LinkedIn still rewards high quality content with solid visibility. And I hope I'm not jinxing anything by saying this, touch wood, but the LinkedIn algorithm is still quite predictable. But that's not even why I think more creators should make LinkedIn their primary platform. It's this: if you build authority on LinkedIn, opportunities will start finding you. Potential clients, employers, partners, collaborators, creators, they'll reach out to you directly. I can personally attest to this. If you're a LinkedIn creator, your creator work does not have to be separate from your 9 to 5. It can be part of it. So if you're still on the fence, here is a rapid fire list of reasons to become a LinkedIn creator this year. First, your content has a longer shelf life. So instead of disappearing from the feed 24 to 48 hours after you post, you will still get traction days, weeks, even months later. You can still do text. Text still performs exceptionally well on LinkedIn, so there is a much lower barrier to entry. Then building a presence on LinkedIn can benefit your career and your business. As I touched on, it's not just a side hustle thing. Your career and creator work can be one and the same. Then building a LinkedIn presence can benefit your company if you're a full-time employee. Buffer is actually a great example of this. We effectively have a team of internal influencers that help support everything we do. Also, it is a brilliant opportunity for monetization, particularly in the B2B space. More and more B2B companies, so that is companies who sell to businesses, are looking for influencer marketing right now. And where's the best place to reach B2B buyers? LinkedIn. The window of opportunity for LinkedIn creators is still wide open, but I'm not sure it's going to be forever. The best time to start is right now. Okay, that was a bit of a wind up, but I think it is really helpful to have the lay of the land before you start. Now, let's get to work. Even if you already have a LinkedIn profile, it probably needs a makeover. Let's go. What do you want to be known for? Here's the question that stops most people from starting as a creator on any social platform. How do I know what to post about? Let me help you solve that. So creators who build engaged audiences make it crystal clear who their content is for and how they are helping that audience. To get you there, you're going to need to choose what we call your niche or your content pillars. And I know that might feel a bit scary. You might be thinking, what if I box myself in? What if I want to talk about other things and then I can't? Don't worry, this is not set in stone. We're going to pick a lane or a couple of lanes, see how it goes. Maybe in a few months we shift over, and that is completely fine. But when you start, I highly recommend you choose a handful of topics or themes, preferably connected ones, that you can talk about with authority. And if you're still stuck, a really helpful thought exercise could be to imagine that you are being invited on a podcast. What have you been invited to talk about? So what could a podcast host ask you enough questions about that would fill an entire episode? That's probably a really good content pillar for you. To drill down further, how do they introduce you? So for me, Kirsty Lang is a marketer and content creator who works remotely. She is obsessed with productivity and tools. So my pillars are social media, remote work, productivity, software and tools, and my home office setup. Now that is quite broad, but do you notice how all of these things are connected and there is quite a bit of overlap between them? So for example, I can talk about my creator tool stack, or I can talk about the productivity systems I use for working remotely. So when it comes to finding your own content pillars, you don't have to have the answer here right away. And I can pretty much guarantee that your pillars are going to evolve over the next few weeks and months as you learn. This is totally fine and expected. They are what I like to call your first pancake pillars. So you know how the first pancake is always a little bit wonky. It's never perfect. You're still figuring out the heat and the timing, how much batter to use. We don't expect your first pillars or your pancake to be incredible. Who knows, maybe they will be. That's amazing. But you're not going to know until you pour the batter into the pan and start cooking. Know your keywords. Now, this is really easy because you already did a bit of the work in the last section. Now you just need to find your keywords. So what is a keyword? Very simply put, keywords are the things or the words or the phrases that you type into a search bar when you are looking for something online. Now, what are your LinkedIn keywords? Ask yourself, what LinkedIn search results do I want to appear in? Now, this is quite important if you are looking for new career opportunities. You want your profile to pop up in search when a recruiter searches for, say, senior project manager or whatever it is you do. That is a really important first keyword for you. Then you can look to your content pillars. What are the key skills or other areas that you're going to be talking about? Some of these will likely be keywords for you as well and may help potential followers find you. They're also going to help the LinkedIn algorithm better categorize your content and serve it to the people who are most likely likely to engage with it. Now, I encourage you to write these down somewhere because you're going to need them in the next section. Set your profile up the right way. Before you create a single post, you need to optimize your profile so that when people discover you, they actually hit follow. And before you're like, ugh, I don't have time for this, skip, I promise we're going to do the super quick version. It's only going to take a few minutes, but if you are a perfectionist though, you're probably going to want to give your profile all the bells and whistles, in which case head over to my video on LinkedIn profile optimization. I will link it up there or down in the caption. You can also come back to this later if that works better for you. Now, remember that setting that I mentioned you have to turn on if you want to start getting followers on LinkedIn. You need to switch your primary action to follow. You want a follow button on your profile and in your posts. So even though LinkedIn removed the old creator mode toggle, you can still change your profile's primary button from connect to follow. Here's how. From your homepage, click on me on the top right, then settings and privacy, then visibility, and scroll all the way down to followers. Then under who can follow you, choose everyone on LinkedIn, and then most importantly, make follow primary. Now, when you head over to your LinkedIn profile, you should have a shiny new follow button. Now, and you knew this was coming, we are going to optimize your key profile sections. According to LinkedIn, profiles with complete information get 30% more weekly views. So filling this stuff out actually helps people discover you. You're gonna wanna focus on these areas. So first and foremost, your profile photo. Use a friendly headshot where you look approachable. Then your headline. This is prime real estate. Your headline is going to show up in the feed and when you send someone a connection request. Try not to make it just a generic job description. Try to showcase what value you can bring to people. So why should they follow you? Also, remember those keywords. You're going to want to weave in as many keywords as you possibly can here. Then your about section. Write in first person. Tell your professional story. Where you've been, what you do, who you can help, and what you are most passionate about. Add some personality. Again, keywords. You have more characters here, so use them. Then your featured section. Showcase your best work here. Pin your top posts, articles, PDFs or portfolios, slideshows, anything you want to show off. It's one of the first things people see when they come to your profile, so make it count. Brain dump some ideas. You have more to say than you think. Okay, so you've got your profile looking good, you know your niche, you've got your keywords. Now comes the part where most people freeze up. What do I even post about? Honestly, you have way more ideas than you think you do, I promise. You just need to get them out of your head and onto paper or a screen. So grab a notebook, open a doc or your create space in Buffer. We are going to brain dump. I like to set a timer or put on a focus playlist on YouTube for 15 minutes and just write. Don't judge, don't edit, just dump every single idea that comes to mind. Here are some prompts that might help you. So think about questions people ask you all the time about your job, mistakes you see beginners making in your field, things like tools or processes that have changed how you work, and things you wish someone had told you when you first started your career. Remember, you are not writing posts just yet. You are capturing ideas, raw, messy, half-baked, imperfect thoughts. That is what we want here. I do this every few weeks and I always come away with 10 to 20 new ideas. Some are really bad, some are pretty good, but I won't know until I see them in my create space. Keep a running list of these ideas on your phone. When inspiration strikes, maybe you're in a meeting or you just solved a problem, get it down. Future you is going to thank you. And if you're using Buffer's Create Space, which by the way is free, you can use the mobile app to grab ideas on the fly. It is one of my favorite ways to gather content. Now, again, we've come to another area where people make a huge mistake in their content journeys. They just start posting immediately with no clear plan, use up all their ideas and get completely burnt out. So to avoid that, you're going to want to create a content calendar. A content calendar is your secret weapon for staying consistent without burning out. You really don't need anything fancy, just a simple calendar that shows you what you're posting and when is more than enough. Here's a simple framework to get you started. First, pick your posting frequency. Our in-depth analysis of LinkedIn posts found that posting 2 to 5 times weekly on LinkedIn is the sweet spot for improving reach and engagement without overwhelming your schedule. Upping your posting frequency to 2 to 5 posts as opposed to just 1 per week can mean more than 1,000 more impressions per post. That said, if you are brand new, I would highly recommend starting on the lower end of that spectrum with 2 to 3 times a week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That is manageable and it still keeps you visible. But if this is too much, once a week is absolutely amazing. One post is better than no posts. I was at this cadence for a very long time, and sometimes once a week is still all I can manage and my audience still grows. But if you really want to be efficient, we're gonna talk about batch creating. So instead of writing one post every morning, block out 2 to 3 hours once a week in your calendar and write multiple posts at once. Then you schedule them. This is where a tool like Buffer is really helpful because it lets you see your whole week at a glance and schedule everything in one sitting. You can draft, edit, schedule, and then just carry on with your life and let your content roll out without you. No pressure though. You can absolutely just use LinkedIn's native scheduler if you prefer. The point is to plan ahead so you're not scrambling every single day. I've got a video on exactly how to schedule on LinkedIn using both Buffer and LinkedIn's native scheduler, which you can check out up there. And when it comes to the best time to post, we have data on that as well. Generally, you need to be posting during working hours, so that is 9 to 5 on weekdays. If you want specific timings, I'm gonna link to a video on that up there as well. But none of this matters if you are not doing this next thing, which is honestly where the magic starts to happen. Experiment with content formats. Look, text posts are amazing. They are quick to create, easy to consume, and they still perform well on LinkedIn. If you are most comfortable writing, lean into that. But it is worth experimenting to see what works best for you and your audience. Buffer's data scientist analyzed thousands of LinkedIn posts to see which formats actually drive engagement, and we found that carousels were exceptional when it comes to that. And then when I had Callie Schweitzer, LinkedIn's head of scaled programs, on our podcast Buffer Chat, I asked her to give advice for creators looking to grow on LinkedIn, and her answer was, well, I'm gonna let her tell you.
So video. You have seen a lot more of it in your feed, I'm sure. And video uploads globally are up 34%. Total video viewership on the platform is up 36% year over year. So
all that said, don't feel pressured to do video or even carousels if you're not ready or if you don't have time. But do try and experiment if you can, see what resonates with your specific audience. This is another area where things are evolving quite fast, so I encourage you to keep a close eye on your analytics if you are serious about growing on LinkedIn. What works today might shift in 6 months, and that's actually quite exciting because early adopters of new formats often see outsized results. Engage every single day. If you really want to grow on LinkedIn, don't post and ghost. I see this all the time. Creators will write this amazing post, hit publish, and then just disappear. And then they wonder why no one engages with their posts. But creators who grow spend just as much time engaging as they do creating. And by that, I mean 2 different types of engaging. One is commenting on other people's content, and then 2 is replying to comments on your own posts. Our data shows that replying to comments on your own posts could mean around 30% more engagement per post. 30%, that's a lot. Now that is just replying on your own posts. But when it comes to engaging with other people's posts, LinkedIn now shows impressions on comments as well. And many creators are reporting that a single insightful comment on someone else's post can get more impressions than their full posts in their entirety, which is pretty cool, right? And all it will take from you is 10 to 15 minutes a day. So if you can, block out 10 minutes on your calendar for a scroll. Find posts from creators in your field, leave thoughtful comments that add to the conversation. And by this, I don't mean great post or, heaven forbid, AI generated comments. Please don't do that. I mean genuine engagement. So share your experience, ask a thoughtful question, challenge something constructively. Then when it comes to your own post, replying to comments is really a non-negotiable. It's not just a nice thing to do, it actually impacts your reach as well. LinkedIn isn't a billboard, it is a community. Now, speaking of community, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that Buffer has a feature called Community that makes replying a whole lot easier. It brings all of your comments from all of your social media platforms together in one dashboard, so you never lose track of comments in a noisy notifications feed again. Right, now you have all the fundamentals down pat, it is time to move on to the more advanced stuff. So for folks who are looking to not just grow on LinkedIn, but thrive as a LinkedIn creator, keep an eye on your analytics. Your analytics are basically free market research telling you exactly what your audience wants. Most people ignore this completely. Don't be most people, because when I actually started paying attention to my analytics, I discovered my best performing content was something that I had posted on a whim, and I'm gonna explain all that in a sec. At least once a week, check your analytics. Here are the things that I look at. Which posts get the most engagement? So what topics was I talking about? What formats were those posts in? Which posts got the most impressions? So what was the hook there? The opening lines can make or break a LinkedIn post, so those are crucial. Who did my post reach? And which content reached the kind of people I actually want to connect with on LinkedIn? Then which post netted me a notable bump in followers? For obvious reasons, patterns will start to emerge. You'll notice certain topics consistently perform better for you, specific formats will work better for your audience, and certain types of content will reach more of the kind of people you want to connect with, whether that is senior leaders at companies you want to work at or potential clients. And here's what surprised me. The content I started making for TikTok is what is absolutely flying on LinkedIn right now. And I never would have guessed that. I thought my traditional marketing content would perform best, and I was completely wrong. The data will surprise you, let it. Let your audience tell you what they want, then give them more of it. When you find what works, don't just note it, double down on it. So screenshot your top posts, study them. What made them work? Can you create variations on that theme? This is where it gets really fun because you're not guessing anymore. You have evidence. You know what your specific audience wants from you. Here's the thing that matters more than any tactic, format, optimization: stay consistent. This is the only real secret. I'm gonna level with you. There is no hack, no secret formula, no magic posting time that is gonna make you blow up overnight on LinkedIn. The only thing that actually works is showing up consistently, week after week, month after month, even when you don't feel like it. Now, I see this all the time. Most people commit to posting and then they give up after a month. They'll post 10 times and they don't see the results that they want, and so they decide it just doesn't work. But that is a huge mistake. LinkedIn rewards consistency over time. The algorithm learns who you are, who your audience is, and how to connect you with them. But that is going to take time. I posted for ages before I started getting any real momentum, but once you get that momentum, things really start to snowball. Here's what consistency looks like. It's not perfect. Some posts will be amazing, some will be mediocre, and that is okay. You are learning. It is sustainable. You're not posting 3 times a day and burning out in 2 weeks. You're posting, say, 2 to 3 times a week, and you can keep it up for months. It's flexible. Life happens. You miss a week, that is absolutely fine. You come back the next week and keep going. The only way to fail at this is if you give up. If you commit to posting twice a week for the next 6 months, not perfectly, not with every post going viral, just consistently showing up, you will see results. Your future self, 6 months from now, with a growing audience and new opportunities finding them, is going to be so grateful you started today. So there you have it, everything you need to become a LinkedIn creator in 2026. Pick your niche, optimize your profile, brain dump your ideas, plan your content, engage every day, watch your analytics, and stay consistent. That is it. That is the whole playbook. You don't need millions of followers to make this worth it. You don't need to be the world's foremost expert. You just need to show up, share what you're learning, and build genuine connections. The LinkedIn creator opportunity is real and it's still wide open, but only if you actually start. I'll link to all of those extra video resources I mentioned, the LinkedIn profile optimization tips, as well as the posting frequency study on the end screen. We also have some data on the best time to post. You'll find that on the end screen as well, and all of it will be in the captions. Now go and build something. I hope to see you on LinkedIn.